Hi, my name is Janet. I'm part of the Heat Network team at Lancaster West Estate. We recently shared some plans about the new Renewable Energy Centre plan for Lancaster West, and we just wanted to share the exhibition boards with you. You still have time to share comments until the end of December 2022. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, comments that you'd like to share with us, please email me at janet.hall@rbkc.gov.uk. Let's move on to the boards. Thanks for taking the time to look at these exhibition boards with us. Just to give you some background to the project, the Heat Network was born from the move towards carbon neutral heating. This means that we'll no longer use fossil fuels on the estate. Heating is one of the most difficult types of heating and types of energy usage to change in our homes. So as part of the refurbishment process for Lancaster West Estate, we looked at different heating systems that could help us go net zero by 2030. And one of those was a new district heating system. We have put together a business case for this project, and we have achieved £1.1 million grant funding from BIS Heat Network Investment Project. A final investment decision will be made by the Council in March 2023. The Heat Network will make enough money to cover its future maintenance and replacement costs. The timeline below just shows some of the major milestones that the project team have taken the project through so far. So in 2020, we completed a feasibility study. In 2022 January, we registered a new company to run the Heat Network. That's called Nottingdale Heat. In September 2022, we did the initial technical design for the project. And in September 22, we also started working with an architect to design the Renewable Energy Centre. Much of the work that they have done will be shared here. In the next few months, we hope to progress the technical design, working with new contractors that we're currently out for procurement with. And then in late summer 2023, we hope to start construction so that people may have new heating at Lancaster West from autumn 2024. Our team involves two different parties. So we have the Lancaster West neighbourhood team, who residents will be very familiar with at Lancaster West. This is led by James Caspel, the neighbourhood director, Jeff Laidler, the Heat Network programme manager, and myself, Janet Hull, the resident engagement manager for the Heat Network. Behind the scenes, we've got lots of engineers working on the project, and their companies are listed below. And we also have appointed the architects Tonkin Liu to design the Renewable Energy Centre, and ARIP are helping with the planning application for this project. Nottingdale Heat is the company that has been set up on the behalf of Kensington and Chelsea Council to design, build, operate and maintain the Renewable Energy Centre and Heat Network. Once the Heat Network is built, Nottingdale Heat will employ Heat Network professionals to manage the company and customer experience. Earlier this year, we appointed a board, a non-executive board, to help manage that company. This includes 2 council officers, 2 independent professionals, and 2 residents from Lancaster West Estate who will be serving as the customer voice to the board. The vision for Nottingdale Heat is to put customers first, rely solely on 100% renewable heat sources, and help tackle fuel poverty. At phase 1, the Heat Network will be limited to Lancaster West Estate. This will replace 2 existing heat networks and up to 126 boilers located at Tredgold, Verity Close and Camborne Mews homes. The existing heat networks are in need of repair. They are about 50 years old and have lots of heating problems across the state at the moment. In the future, it is hoped that the heat network will expand to phase 2 and that it might serve the rest of Nottingdale Heat. Nottingdale. Project benefits include cleaner air, because we will no longer be burning fossil fuels, and green skills and jobs, so lots of local skills can be upgraded to kind of serve heat network installations like a heat interface unit. Also heat general estate improvements, so this is part of the wider refurbishment programme, and then also help tackle fuel poverty. So this project is being co-designed with residents at Lancaster West Estate, and that basically means that residents have been involved in the decision process as we develop not just the design but also the business and the kind of the economics behind it, including a resident price promise. The co-design timeline shows some of the main milestones that we have achieved with residents so far. So this began in July 2020 when we did the top 10 priorities with residents. In February 2021, we developed the heating priorities. April 2021, we looked at developing a price promise together. And then we have been in constant continuous engagement as part of the ongoing refurbishment of Lancaster West also. In more recent months, we've done some co-design about the energy centre design specifically, starting in April when we had the Heat Network Roadshow. Then residents helped us select architects for the design of the renewable energy centre over this summer. So below we have just a quick summary of some of the main points, the main kind of takeaways from our engagement with residents so far. One of the striking things is that many residents, about 40%, do not heat their home as they currently would like. This is due to lack of heat controls available. And that was shown to be one of the top priorities, with 47% of households saying that they really wanted to have better heat control in their homes. Around 83% of residents have said that they support the project to develop a heat network at Lancaster West. And we have also included 2 case study energy centre projects that residents picked out as their favourite designs. There is a general favouring for a green wall, and also looking at different kinds of patterns, nature and kind of Moroccan styled architecture. So what is a heat network? Heat networks are very simply big plumbing systems. Heating and hot water is supplied from a central energy centre to several buildings. This enables cities to change from gas to renewable heating. At Lancaster West, there are 4 different energy sources that we're going to be using. So number 1, you will see an air source heat pump will be fitted to the roof of Kensington Leisure Centre. At number 2, there will be a renewable boiler, that's an electric boiler installed into an existing boiler room. At 3, we will introduce something called a warm water store onto the estate, which is a very large tank of water. It's a bit like a kettle to the system, and it supplies backup water which is heated overnight. And then at 4, we have a second air source heat pump, which will be fitted to Treadgold House. An air source heat pump basically draws in heat from air, and it uses a refrigerant in the same way as a fridge does to keep things cool. This works in reverse to heat up water in the pipes and in the heat pump. And the electric boiler uses electricity to heat up, as does the warm water store. And in fact, the green electricity will be used to power the air source heat pump also. The diagram at the bottom just shows how all these 3 things will be connected at Lancaster West. So onto the renewable boiler room. This is some of the initial ideas and options that have come from the architects. So there are a few key moves listed to the right here. A chimney stack will be removed from the existing boiler room. B, an opportunity to extend the communal resident garden has been identified. This garden currently only has access to residents who live in Camelford Walk. and that will remain the case, but we are able to extend that garden by a few square metres when the chimney stack is removed. C, improve local landscaping. Residents have made us aware that there's problems with fly tipping, particularly at the corners of this boiler room. So there's an opportunity for us to look at how we might solve that in the long term. D is options for lighting effects. So below you will see the new proposal for the renewable boiler room, and we can integrate different lighting options into this new facade or new screen that will wrap the building. E, there is option for screen pattern finish, which we'll talk about a bit further along. F, there is option for new viewing windows into the boiler room. And G, there is option for information displays, which could explain more about the renewable heating and how it works. The renewable boiler room will be wrapped in a lightweight metal screen. The architects are looking at different patterns, colours and materials available. There are some examples on this board. The warm water store. The warm water store acts as a battery to the renewable heat network, and it's basically one single large water tank, a bit like the pink one shown in the centre image. We have different options about how we could include those water tanks as part of the renewable energy centre design. So in example 1 at the top left, the water store could be hidden within an energy centre or within a building. Example 2, they could be integrated to become part of a building. And then example 3 shows where the warm water store actually becomes a feature, is outside and becomes part of the landscape. We would like to hear your opinion on which option you prefer, and also to think about what more can a water store do. So if we located the water store outside, the water store could have other functions. It could be a gathering place, a sculpture, it could provide new urban lighting, or it could provide educational opportunities, either with information or just giving people kind of an insight about how the Renewable Energy Centre works. The warm water store location has been selected through quite a long shortlisting process where we've looked at different technical elements, land ownership, the proximity to homes, accessibility, and local environmental improvements. There were a number of sites looked at towards the west of the site. These were largely discarded because it was decided that it would be best to have a central location from a technical perspective. And so this left options 6 or 7. So 6 focuses around the leisure centre, where there will be quite a lot of pipe network connecting each of the buildings up. And then 7 is an alternative option near the boiler room, which will of course be a centre of heat production also. That long list of warm water store options has been developed into a short list, and we have 4 options still on the table and that we would like to hear your opinion on. Option 1 is between the Leisure Centre and Kensington Aldridge Academy. This site is kind of the back entrance, or what used to be the entrance of the Leisure Centre, or one of the entrances of the Leisure Centre. And there is some space between the memorial tree at this area and the old substation in this area. The second option is next to the leisure centre, somewhere around the entrance. And this could be seen as a kind of wayfinding opportunity, or just to kind of signal that entrance to the leisure centre. The third option is between the leisure centre and on Bowmore Road, opposite Avondale Park Road. And again, this could mark the entrance towards the leisure centre and towards Lancaster Green. The fourth option is attached to the renewable boiler room. So this site is a lot more hidden than the others. The warm water store could be sunk below so that you won't necessarily see it unless you're kind of walking past it or walking down towards the safe store. So moving on to the design options, and this board kind of just explains some of the inspiration that the architects have used for developing the design for the renewable boiler room screen so far. And the colour uses kind of pinks and blues and greens, and it was inspired by nature. And inside it has a blue to pink gradient that mimics the temperature difference from the bottom to the top of the water contained in the cylinder. And outside, the green colour complements the surrounding trees and grass. Pattern: the Renewable Energy Centre will be wrapped in a patterned lightweight screen. The architects Tonkin Liu have designed a pattern especially for Nottingdale heat. And they've taken that inspiration from nature, and we have used different photographs of natural objects produced by residents to inspire that pattern also. The final element that we're asking residents to think about today is light. The building screens are very light, delicate and see-through, so there's an opportunity to lightly to light the buildings up and to make them gently glow at night. And we're looking at different effects that we can use for that. So in image 1, we have what looks like fairly normal street lighting, but in interesting colours. In image 2, we have shadow casting onto the pavements to create different patterns and illusions. And then in image 3, we have the backlit screen, which basically shines through to kind of create different patterns and effects. So we would like to know which of those images you prefer, and you can choose as many as you want and as many as you think would be suitable to see in and around Lancaster West. So just to finish, we have an overview of the next steps. So we will follow this exhibition up and these boards up with another set in probably around spring next year, to show you what the fully developed design looks like, taking into account all of the comments that we've received from residents. We will also provide more information on the technical surveys at that stage, covering things like visual, sound, trees, drainage, construction and traffic. If you have any more questions about any of those boards, please contact me at janet.hall@rbkc.gov.uk. There is also a survey available online. Thank you.